All right, Grok, an XAI team. I had an internet outage all day. I wanted to make this video sooner, but I'm going to show you how the trade ideas data and our technology, we're been ahead of the game for about 2 decades. I'm going to show you why the way you can work with our data is so custom built for agentic AIs, but very difficult for humans. And you're going to see how this gap is going to be filled very quickly. So first of all, we are already working on the API for you guys to connect, but let's start with number one. Again, I just want you to see what you're able to do. So you have categories, alerts, and filters. I'm going to do a quick scroll for you. It's very big, so you can custom tailor made. I can go a little slower, uptrend, downtrend, different time frames, preset algorithms, all sorts of like SMA crosses, 8-period crosses, the 5-period on different time frames, 4, 5, 10, 20, 30. I mean, and this is done for all stocks. Okay, this is the power of our data. MACD. Well, again, I'm not saying technical analysis works, but you want to be aware of what's going on and what others are doing. So these are all stochastics, all the candlestick patterns. Okay, so these are all events that you can look and find as they happen for any stock. And I'm just scrolling because when you look through it more quickly, you'll be able to zip through this, but I'm just giving you a concept of how much breadth you have. Narrow range bars, that's what, so 7 narrow range bars, 1 minute, 2, 5, 10, 15, 30 wide range bars. Heartbeat is basically an alert that tells you a certain filter has been satisfied. The filters are, again, kind of out of this world because we do mathematical minimums and maximums. And imagine if you put in a minimum of -10 and a maximum of 10, you can bookend things in a very interesting way. Okay, so spread, bid size, ask size, the ratio. Okay, distance from inside market. That's just, again, you're getting into sort of the weeds, but average number of prints, of course, all sorts of volume. But volume yesterday, volume today, percent. How is it compared to this time of day, any time of day? Today's volume, okay, 30-minute post-market volume, volatility, volatility percentage, yearly standard deviation, the wiggle, like how much is the stock going to possibly move at any given time based on its volatility. Average true range, today's range in percentages or dollars, 2-minute range, 5-minute range. Do you see what I'm talking about? Nobody slices and dices put call ratio, options volume. How much did it gap up in dollars or percents? Where is it relative to where it's opened? Where is it in the, is it at point like $5.25 or 5.99? These are all incredibly interesting things that you can dissect with our data. The decimal is one of these most powerful things that nobody even thinks about. Consecutive candles up on different time frames. I'm just giving you a small sample of, and also like what's the broader market doing? If you want to be buying, maybe you want to be buying when the Nasdaq and the S&P are also moving in the general direction. These are all things that you can do. Volume, weighted average price. I mean, all sorts of change from the close, pre-market, post-market, 5 days, 10 days, 1 year, since January of this year, standard deviation. Where is it in its range between 5, 15, 30, 60? How much is it above the high or above the low? This kind of works with our time travel. Okay, below high, above low, pre-market, post-market, minutes since new high, minutes since new low, all the position and ranges. So these are all, again, events, and these are filters. You understand the difference. But I want to show you where, again, this goes next level. Okay, so I'm going to go to select alerts. I'm going to search for just alerts. I'm going to pick something like I'm going to type in 5-minute consolidation breakout. Remember, this is just an example, but you're going to see where I'm getting at. I'm going to add the alert. I'm going to put some filters in here. So there's some default filters, but I'm going to change them up so you can see that you can customize this. And you will have access to do this via API, whereas I am doing a GUI, which is basically the human access point to our API. Okay, so I'm going to say relative volume of 2, that's 1. Add my defaults. So I can say, okay, I want to see things. Whoops, add defaults where the price is between $1 and $50. Just giving you an example. We already said 300,000 relative volume of 2. Let's look at some things we can do here. I'm going to say change, open, oops, and I'm going to say filters. So here, when I say change, you can search up all the things, but again, you'll be able to do all of that. And I say open, okay, change from the open and percentage, I'm just going to say 1. And we're going to call this 5-minute burst. All right, so I'm going to click on that, and you're going to see I'm going to bring this into the video, and you're going to see that the last time this happened was like right before the close, and it was probably this move right here. These are just little, algorithmic hints. It's a 5-minute consolidation breakout, somewhere right around here. And you can go to history and you can see today what's taken place. Okay, and you can see the arrows where the alert was triggered. Okay, there you go. But okay, so now that you see this, okay, watch what I'm about to do next, and we're going to be jumping into the agentic superpower. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to backtest strategy. So the problem here is that for people, we're about to go beyond most people's comprehension. Remember that we are doing event-based testing, not one stock at a time. So let's go from like right here. It's going to start the strategy at 6:35, but we're only going to trade it, hypothetically speaking, only till 8 a.m. And we can time the exits anytime you want, but we're going to say for 30 minutes. And now we're just going to see what happened. You can do all sorts of other stuff like profit targets, stop losses. I'm just trying to give you an example here, but watch what happens here. Okay. Almost a coin flip, but do you see what we just ran through? 269 simulations. But here's where you will be able to do things that people really can't. Optimization. Okay. So number 1, you can optimize by price. You can optimize by time of day. Like there's an interesting sweet spot from 7:40, or like right around here. Maybe you want to start this right at this time. But the real power, okay, so which stocks did the best, which stocks did the worst, you can do it by symbol. But here's the superpower, okay? Remember our list of filters? This is what people can do. You can go through any one of these filters and you can see where the results are favorable for you. So imagine agentically just being able to scroll through all of this to create the super profile. In essence, that's what Holly, our AI, is doing to an extent. It does a little bit more. But do you see what I'm saying? I'm showing you that we keep track of all of our filter values for the optimization so you can see, like for example, let's put in something like S&P change today. Okay, so you can see when the S&P is doing this is good. When the S&P is doing this is the result, and what it looks like in the middle. But my point is that for a person to be able to go through all of these data points manually is almost impossible, whereas for you guys, it's going to be kind of incredible. So here you have a whole calendar heat map where you can bring up every trade, gross profit, loss, you can study it. And again, I'm giving a very, very high level example. Why did I lose? How do I adjust? But you guys with agentic power can just do things that people could never even dream of doing with this information. But do you see what we have? I mean, it's kind of incredible. So again, run again. Let's click on this. Most win days, most lose day, best day, biggest losing day. How, there's so many ways to correct and optimize this, but we only did it for 30 minutes. What about at the end of the day? It's actually worse. But now you know something that you didn't know before. And again, you can go through the same examples. What's going on here in group 5? So this level of optimization and learning in a agentic way, not on a per stock basis, but on a per group basis, this kind of back testing is just something that you can only do at Trade Ideas. We're one of a kind in this. And we are building our API so that you are able to do this, but, agentically versus as a person. All right. Also, something important, check this out. You can, in our software, you can go to configure, and anything that you're doing, you can just invert it. And it inverts the proper avert, but keeps the filters properly done. And then you can back test it and say, okay, well, maybe I'll sell this. Well, selling is not a good idea, but maybe I should buy it. I mean, just based on what I'm seeing here. That looks pretty good. And do you see, I didn't optimize anything. Imagine what you can do. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. We're working on the API, and this is the power of Trade Ideas that virtually nobody understands or even begins the process. So ahead of the curve. All right, you guys, talk to you soon. Bye.